Welcome to TradeTheNBA.com. This is John's reports for the 23rd of August. Well, and we keep getting this bounce right around that 50%. We still have DOC red above the negative 13.5 and just right at the negative 7.5. So holding up still fairly strong, but within a slightly weaker stance, which led to a little bit of decay right there. We finally see shorts moving above that zero line here with the cyan. Now at positive 80. You'd have to see a dip of the steel crossing below to sort of give a negative turnaround, particularly with red get green already below red. But this is often where we have a complete reset here, and it's just a question of, are we going to get a little bit more oomph before we start to trade. But for the most part, this has been looked like a sideways configuration for a little while. If it breaks out, then I think it's going to be dramatic. It should take us to the highs pretty darn quick. Same thing with the NASDAQ. It's already at the peak of the previous down move and has just been kind of like trailing same sideways action. People are waiting for some kind of catalyst to suggest that there's going to either be new stimulus or that something might change. But as it is now, things are humming along, and just not a whole lot to get terrorized about that. The euro, though, is sketchy. It's a real concern for the U.S. because they really want to see this back in that 112 to 116, 117 range would be their ideal situation. This is getting a little bit more fraught with danger. No real interest in anyone wanting to buy euros at this particular point, and I think that's pretty evident here from the chart. It just dip below the red line, falling shakeout. Nothing about it is giving it any strength at this particular point. So, Fed's going to have to get busy. Oil, not worth a comment at this particular point because it's still holding up. The same thing with gold. We've already seen that the reports that just came out about China just sucking it up, and this is their alternative to buying U.S. Treasuries. Intraday was kind of nice. I have to shrink this just a fraction. We started out a little bit moved down, filling in the positive extremes. There was no shock with that. Came right back up. Did the exact same thing off DOC spread here. Love it when the steel is coming from above. And this is something that I'm creating now for the new month function that will actually just be a DOC spread function, which will give you DOC spread with a steel coming from above or a steel that is below, because there is a difference in how it generates and where it happens. As long as it happens within like 5 bars of the previous, you tend to get stronger reactions. Likewise, the same with the buys that come in when you have plus 13.5 and you have a rising magenta, which in this particular case, after that beautiful cascade lower, so you have DOC spread. Green already a dip below red at that particular point. We're right at the zero level. Steel had already come down here and been reset, so there was the chance of it turning around, but unable to see any improvement from a orange standpoint to justify that there were a significant number of buyers, and it just cascaded lower nice and clean at that particular point. Bottomed out. You got the earliest signals here from the shakeout. This is something we were talking about. The strongest power moves to the upside are usually when the red DOC is above 13.5 or gets right to it. And you can see that even though we got the signal there, still had a rough time right about at the negative 13.5, and then boom, once it crossed over it, that was all it took. And that's what led to the bounce back, which was pretty much just a nearly full recovery of that entire move. From the peak right up there, we got just to where the breakdown took place. So what do they call it? The plunge protection team popped in and bought the dip up. Still, we're right at those key levels because again, we came right to the 29.05. Oh, shock! Yeah, not like we haven't had that one. And we got past the 23 where we conglomerates of resistance right around there. But once it was above it, we moved right back to this 29.33 range, and potentially we're going to be moving back up to the 45. So we'll just have to see if there's continued impetus to it. We've already got some positive extremes, so we may just be more in that trading range, which is something that we looked at from the chart from a 50K standpoint. Now we got to get to the current chart of it. Kind of flatlined here with the previous trade. We were up, and then it's like, no, it's just too many bars of nonsense to let it continue. But then it just jumped right back into it, unfortunately, just a little bit higher price. This is a time function that I do have built into the buy sell, but that won't be necessary as I'm developing this additional DOC setup that will indicate when we have a fundamental change from a direction standpoint that will give us more of a clear idea of power up as well as power down moves. So I think that's going to be kind of cool. As always, though, if there's anything new and relevant, I will certainly put it up. This was super darn clean, no objections to it. It was a significant move both ways, which I think is fun. So as always, I will talk to you later. Have a great weekend. Trade well.